Hello there and welcome, and this is going to be the first and possibly a series of analytical videos and gameplay analysis. Now, I'm no great player. I'm a good caster and a fairly intelligent guy that's been part of the competitive side of this community since 2012. As a caster and a tournament organiser, I've had intimate access to the best players in the world. I've been able to evaluate their styles, their techniques, their motivations, their weaknesses and their strengths over many years, and that has given me a very, very good knowledge of how the game should be played. Admittedly, me personally, I haven't got the time to allocate to this game to get that good at it. Highest rank I've ever been at is just sneaking the top 100 with some very abusive strategies, and recently in the top 200 as Soviets, just by getting a good build order and playing the best I can, and that's not impressive. But what I do know is gun engagements and the engagements you're going to want to steer away from and get yourself into in this great series, having watched it since 2012 to this day. So that's what this episode's going to be on. It's going to be on about gunfights. It's going to be about making sure that you're always in an advantageous position and making sure your opponent is in a disadvantageous position. It's going to be about pushing the agenda and always trying to fight on your terms. Remember that phrase. That will steer you to some fantastic wins in your competitive computer gaming career. But to be honest, it's very important for a lot of sports and a lot of competitive activities. Pushing the environment and the agenda to be on your terms, so they're in your domain, is just a great anecdote for life. It helps so much, and in Company of Heroes it certainly is applicable, but it can be applied to the tactics on a very small scale, and we're going to be watching a little bit of that in this analysis. So what you're going to be seeing is this player Hawkinson versus myself. I don't know Hawkinson's rank. If I was to guess, I'd say around 600 to 800, something like that. Okay, and I didn't know that look going into this game. I didn't know who he was. I treated it as my warm-up game. I play US as my warm-up faction, to be honest, because I personally, at this mid-level that I play at, I find them quite easy. To me, US, because I've got that Pershing to use in the late game, I never have problems, even if I'm losing. But I'm up against somebody, and I am always cognizant of the fact that I am evaluating their skill level in the game. So without further ado, let's evaluate this guy and let's see what he does. And the reason I evaluate my opponent's skill level is because, of course, you have a lot of angst when you start playing. You want to quickly suss out how good your opponent is. And that is highly obvious in the first few engagements, and I told Hawkinson this. He was in my I streamed this game last night, and he came in my chat and said that was me, and it came to giving him a few tips because I did end up winning this game, and I just said to him, listen, I tried to say it in a respectful manner, but I had no respect for this guy after the first few engagements because I knew he picked bad engagements, and I knew that it wasn't going to go well for him. I'd had 3 beers by this point on a Friday night after a long week at work. I tend to work at least 9 hours a day. And I knew that with my experience of playing this game, this guy that's probably a relative newcomer wasn't going to win. And it was due to engagements. So I'm going to pause the game because right ahead, there's something strategic he's doing. I count anything strategic as in overall map control. It can also be build orders and overall strategies, but tactical is on a very small local level. Now, strategically, he's moving his Folks Grenadiers over to the east from the get-go, and his Stern Pioneers over to the west. His Stern Pioneers aren't going for anything aggressive, they're going to cap a point. That is a Neddy no-no, in my opinion. OKW players. So he sees danger. Let's go from a fog of war position. He sees danger. He's confirming that it's me, the caster, at this point. And he's gone behind cover. Now, you'd think that's a good decision, and I'm here to tell you why that's a bad decision. Look at the sight ranges against this Stern Pioneer. This Stern Pioneer, its effective range is around where my cursor is, right? It's around that band there. I don't know don't know the game stats. I've got a good feel for the game, and I'm not like Tightrope or somebody. I can't tell you its exact super duper game meters and where its DPS profile drops off. It's all there. The information's all there. You can find it. There's a fantastic calculator on CoH2.org that shows you the graph. But I'm telling you that its range is really good around this area, and of course up close. But it drops off around the tip of its sight. See that there? It's not going to be effective. It's going to be impotent. So somebody with a decent level of knowledge of the game is just going to exploit that. Rifleman, I know where he is now. I know what he's doing, so I go and behind this tree, I believe. There you go. Make this to click behind this tree. And his effective range is absolutely nullified. I still have great... I know he's got better cover than me, so he's got reduced received damage and reduced received accuracy. I've just got the reduced received accuracy. I've not got the damage. So you'd think he'd win, but he's not going to win because his weapon profile drops off around here. So I'm just teasing him at this point. And also now, I'm going to start to exploit the cover mechanics. The cover mechanics are one-directional, so this rear echelon's going to go around here. And this is a drunken accountant after a full week of work, and I push him away. So that was a bad thing. What could he have done differently? Well, instead of taking cover behind here, leaving himself exposed, he should have repositioned the Stern Pioneers. Maybe bring them back to the centre of the battlefield where they can be covered for by the Volksgrenadiers. The Volksgrenadiers are great meat shields. These guys are all going to the east side. This new one, finally, the third Volksgrenadier he built is starting to come where the Stern Pioneers were. But the first engagement of the game has already been lost by this point. So that's what I'm saying. Strategically, he shouldn't have split the Stern Pioneers and the Volksgrenadiers off the bat. He should have used the Stern Pioneers, to be aggressive, perhaps, maybe go to the centre of the battlefield and try and catch the rear echelons with their pants down, maybe. But if you're going to leave them exposed like that, you're going to have a bad time. So now that's one unit for an all-the-way base. Look how low its health is, by the way. He's not going to want to put that back on the battlefield with low health. It's 30 manpower every time one of the soldiers dies in the Stern Pioneer squad. So that's now allowing me to cap my points, which is decent. You know, he's capping his, fair enough. But what is it doing also? Because his Stern Pioneer has been left unguarded, he's left his cutoff exposed. That is why this Volksgrenadier should have possibly been on cutoff protection duty. It wasn't. So possibly his game sense could be improved there in protecting his cutoff. And, of course, there are plenty of things that Hawkinson does well in this game, but we're not here to go over what's done well. We're here to talk about why a drunken accountant who's 29 years old was able to quite handily win. And just knew from the get-go that there was serious and fundamentals lacking. Okay, so he sees his cutoff being taken. He knows that's a dire situation, but look, the Stern Pioneers can't mitigate yet because they're too busy getting health supplies quite early in the game. You know, you don't want to lose models on them, yes, but you definitely don't want to lose your cutoff either. So what does he do in return? Goes into the house, fair enough. He's kind of caught out here. Volksgrenadiers, by the way, aren't coming to mitigate the situation immediately. They're carrying on with the cap, which is fair enough, I guess. Swap my headset around so it's the right way. Left-right channels. There's cutoff complete. Ah, here we go. He's going to go for a cutoff maneuver of his own. Initiated. Meanwhile, my rifles are now taking up these territories up here. So there's the cut-off attempt from him. And also, the Stern Pioneers, full health now, have come to pick off me. So I peel away and get out of there using that new gap they've created, which is fine. But I was quite sloppy here in allowing my cut-off to be neutralised, so good mitigation there. And he's got it. My guys are low on health. I'm not behind cover. That's sloppy play by me. Volksgrenadiers now. Yeah, that's going to have to be a full retreat. Now, that's a nice full retreat by me. I did lose one model, yes, but as soon as I saw that there was literally no winning in the engagement, hit retreat immediately. A better player may have sensed that the engagement was going to go sour and may have repositioned up here, perhaps, and waited for this lieutenant squad to join the fray. But I'm not a better player. Just going to momentarily check on the engagement over here. What's happening? Just Volksgrenadiers versus rifles. Pretty boring stuff. Nothing to remark there, to be honest. So yes, here comes the lieutenant. Notice I built myself this tank trap fortification earlier on. Volksgrenadiers don't want a tango there because they know they're going to be up against screen cover. That's decent. And of course, there's this fuel ready to be harassed. Now, this is a bad engagement. And let me tell you why. There's nothing that can be gained for Hawkinson at this point. He's decapping a standard territory point, yes. And it could be argued that if he gets both of these, it's going to make it that step harder to get my fuel back, of course. But if you think about it, there is nothing to be gained from fighting against the Lieutenant. The Lieutenant, there's M1 carbines in that squad. There's, I think, is it 3 or 4 of them? Yeah, decent mid to long range versus, yeah, the Car 98, yes, but the green cover is such a huge factor. As discussed, that's minus 50% received and minus 25% damage. So, you know, you're not going to win that fight. So why stay on that side of the point? You'll start to see the health bar of the Focus Grenadier drop shortly. And it's just, there's no point in it. You might as well reposition over here, to be honest. That might not go too badly for him. I don't know. I just know that that's not the greatest position to put yourself in. Well, it's not exactly gone terribly, but still. He has, however, gotten the double decap there. But yeah, he's still dropping models. 50 cals now set up. And at least he got out of there eventually. But it's just that, and I will show you, I'm going to show you Kimbo Mad Slice replay after this, where he does the exact same engagement, but he repositions to get out of the dodgy imbalance in that gunfight. Similar here. Similar. These rear echelons are behind green cover, and the Focus Grenadiers are just standing there. Maybe this was just, you know, an idle unit, let's say, but still, there is nothing to be gained, other than obviously taking the point. But you've got to ask yourself, are you just losing manpower for manpower's sake? And can you mitigate it by moving to the edge of the circle away from the engagement? Okay, he's repositioning now. And I've got, these boys are healthy. They've got, they've just, look at that DPS. They're going to eat you alive. And this is completely a mismatch now. These Focus Grenadiers are low on health. They're low on squad size. You know, it's very dangerous. They don't have much DPS. They don't have any veterancy. And this is a full health rifle squad, which has more DPS, and a lieutenant squad likewise. So this should not be a soft pedal over. More experience of the game will give you a better understanding of what battles you will win and what battles you will lose. And this is a losing battle. In my mind, this should have been a soft retreat to here and then a hard retreat. So you would have maneuvered the algorithm of the retreat path, so you go to this point here. It should not have been a reposition to fight, and you see why now. So see, I've positioned myself on the retreat path. I know these guys are here. I've put myself behind green cover. I'm going to fight them. I'm picking on the two-man squad, and he has to retreat. Now, this isn't a squad wipe, but it should have been, because the negative cover kicks in here. My dudes are absolutely ravaging them. I can't believe this wasn't a squad wipe. It's focus fired. The medium cover saves his life. Do you see that? This is a tip for people that they don't know. It's out of your control, but the cover still kicks in on the retreat path. So he actually had reduced received accuracy just when this little blighter with one line of pixels of health needed it most. And then, of course, the Stern Pioneers to the rescue. They saved the day. But in any other game, that would have been a squad wipe for certain. So I've probably spoke for way too long now, but I just think immediately, good minds, by the way, Hawkinson, some great fundamentals, but just based on 3 gunfights that were just obviously not the right gunfights, I knew, I genuinely knew at this point in the game that because I was going to go for my abusive Pershing strategy, and I knew I'd win most of the gunfights in this game, there's no way I was going to lose. And I even said that live on stream. It's not being cocky, it's just I've got, you know, decent levels of knowledge of, you know, how the game works, even though I do get quite frustrated in the fact that I have no levels of practice, and I'm quite shocking when it comes to keeping up micro and keeping up the flow of the game. But we're now going to watch a player that is fundamentally excellent. It's Kimbo Mad Slice. This guy is a rather abusive and trolling Polish player, but he has a fantastic understanding of the fundamentals. If you guys want to watch the, if you're not a new player and you're just watching for some background noise or whatever, this is going to be FastoCast episode 10 that I am going to be recording straight after I've finished this very small tutorial video, if you will. So if you don't want to be spoiled by the start of the game, please just watch the FastoCast instead. So yeah, he's also up against Paula. Paula, again, a fantastic player, winner of many ESL tournaments in the past. But we're just going to see what they do differently slightly. So it's the same map. Kimbo, probably number 1 in the world for OKW, is playing from the north side. And Paula, former also number 1 all 5 factions. So both players have accomplished the Grand Slam. He is playing as the Brits. And we're going to speed up the very early game in the capping orders, but we'll probably just note, yeah, the Folks Grenadier goes the same side as the Stern Pioneer. They don't separate from the get-go. So there's tip number 1, exemplified by the better player. Stern Pioneer also going for the munitions, it seems, which is interesting that he targets that straight off the bat. Right, now Paul's a very aggressive player. I'll go for the jugular immediately and the universal carrier. Notice that, by the way. I'm sorry, notice that. He saw that he was outgunned immediately and backpedaled. I should have slowed that down. He was at this side of the capping circle. He saw the Tommies and he moved over to this side. I wish I had it at normal speed at this point. I actually forgot I needed to say that. But yeah, he did the what I told you to do when you were playing here. He repositioned over to this point. And green cover now. Watching on normal speed. Dropping models. Tommy's on the retreat path. What's he going to do? Is he going to stick and fight? Seems it that way because behind green cover he may as well. Although he's not actually getting any shots off. And the universal carrier is just completely getting very efficient damage down because it doesn't do much against you. And the cutoff has been taken. Speed that up a little bit. Yeah, he knew he could stay there. He's now going for a very low health cap. Because he's got the Folks Grenadiers to back him up. So that's why he's able to cause pressure on the Tommies, despite a 3-man squad. And he's now waiting for the backup to come from base, I believe. Here it comes. And this looks very dangerous. But if you notice, he's ignoring the UC from this angle. He's focus firing the Tommies. And he's gambling that this medium cover is going to save his life. He knows if he retreats, negative cover is going to kick in. And the Tommies are going to go to town. So this is calculated. This is not the same as what happened up here. Because there was no benefit to it. He does have benefit here. Really wants to stand and fight over the cutoff. And wants to make a stand of it. There's one model drops. He goes for the hard retreat finally, just as the models drop. And there you go. Because he waited for the model drop, it worked out. If he hadn't have done that, he may have worked out harder. But he put pressure on the Tommy squad up until the point he felt it was safe to retreat. So that's the reason he was staying there. Of course, that's what I meant to say originally. The reason he was staying there is so he could find the exact right time to retreat. And it's all about, little movements like that. So immediately you can see how things are different. And just to reiterate, the 3 things Kimbo did differently to the previous player, of course, the one player in the world is going to do things differently, is he took the Stern Pioneers of the Folks Grenadiers to the same side of the map to give them support. When he was on one side of the capping circle and he was up against a unit in cover, he didn't stand and fight. He moved to the opposite side to complete the cap. And then the third point is, if the situation was bad, he didn't retreat too quickly. He kind of waited and hesitated until he had backup and then he retreated. That is advice that is very unique to that situation. It isn't a direct relation to this. This was different. This was you should have retreated before you even got to that point. But the game is all about getting an experience for how the gunfights are going to go against you or for you, and getting the quick ability to evaluate a gunfight and to know when it's in your favour and when it's not in your favour. Of course, RNG happens. The bullets are all based on accuracy percentages, aren't they? Whether they hit or not. It's not like rolling the dice, because the dice rolls are too fast and too frequent. You can't keep tabs on it. But getting a feel for how the poker table is stacked against you or in your favour, and getting a feel of the engagements will make you a better player. And you just need to possibly watch your replays back and just evaluate, why did I stay in this engagement? What did I have to gain from it? Was I going to accomplish anything? No, you should have backpedaled away from it or got into a safe space and hard retreated. I think in the future, I may do more of these tutorials. I'll try and pick on a few strategies here and there and possibly get guests on that are much better players than myself. So if you're an improving player and you play 1 versus 1, which is what men do, if you're in the top, say, 1,000 and you want to push on, and improve yourself, please send your replay in to redditcoh@gmail.com, and I'll take a look at it, and I'll try and find a top-level player that's doing some of the things you're doing wrong right. So thanks for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed that.